Hello guys, Professor Troll here again. Today I'm bringing you a deck that I'm actually very proud of. I got help building this deck with a good friend of mine. His name is Scott. He's from Team AeA, Attach Energy Attack. You can find them on Facebook rather easily. They're from Leeds, Alabama. So this deck is a really interesting Ultra Beast deck that uses Celesteela, which is a Pokemon that hasn't really been used pretty much at all. But I found a way, with help, to make this deck quite annoying with damage reduction. So we're going to start out with 3 Celesteela GX. And it may not be in focus very well, but the first attack for 1 metal and 1 metal and a DCE. This attack does 30 damage plus 30 more damage for each energy in the retreat cost. And then you got 1 metal and 3 colorless for 130, and 1 metal and 3 colorless for 180, and reveal your prize cards. Best part about that is it reveals your prize cards before you take them, so you get to look at them and decide which ones you want to take. This is your main attacker, and it'll get pretty annoying. 200 hit points doesn't sound like a lot right now, but it gets annoying with the damage reduction you'll see in this deck. So you start out with 3 of those, and then we move on to 4 Stakataka, which you should have assumed. So Stakataka GX has the ability Ultra Wall, and in Ultra Wall your Ultra Beasts take 10 less damage from your opponent's attacks. So you have 4 out, that's 40 left, and those cards are sliding down. Anyways, so you'll take 40 less damage from your opponent's attacks. 2 metal and a colorless is 120, and again 2 metal and a colorless for Assembly GX is 50 plus 50 more damage for each prize card you've already taken. You probably won't really be using this Pokemon to attack unless you're going against a hard Psychic deck like Malamar, but still chances are you won't really be using him to attack. But you run 4 of him. And then we run on to 2 Point Pole. I use the Point Pole for Forbidden Light, but you can use the Point Pole from Lost Thunder. It really only matters depending on if you actually are forced to attack with it. Chances are you really won't be. So 2 Point Pole and 2 Naganadel GX. You only use Beast Raid with Naganadel in this deck. You won't have any Psychic Energy to use Jet Needle, and there's almost no point to using Stinger GX. But Naganadel is basically in here for a good Psychic counter. Yes, he has a weakness to Psychic, but he can do some heavy damage against some Psychic Pokemon. Or Buzzwole, which is still relevant, kind of. So you'll run 2 line of those as a secondary attacker. And then we run 1 copy of Kartana GX. Now Kartana GX, you use the ability Slice Off, so when you play it from your hand, you immediately discard a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Right now that's really good because there's a lot of special energy being played right now. And if you have to attack with them, you can use Gale Blade to do a quick hit and then shove them back in your deck so you're not wasting your energy attachments. And if you're only at 1 prize card and you haven't used your GX attack, just pop a Metal Energy on Blade GX, I can't talk today, and just take that last prize card and win the game. I've seen people do it, it's really funny. On to the supporters. Obviously we run 4 copies of Cynthia. At this point you really kind of have to. 3 or 4 is pretty much a staple. We run 4 copies of Guzma. In this deck you really want to get out something that has a hard retreat cost, so your Celesteela can knock it out pretty quickly. We run 3 copies of Acerola, so just in case you are taking some heavy damage, since the majority of Pokemon in this are basic, you can just Acerola it back in your hand and not have to worry about evolving back up to it. 2 copies of Tate and Liza. This is a dual purpose in this deck, mostly for shuffling and drawing 5, because I've noticed that there is a little bit of draw consistency problems when I first built this deck, and these help out a lot, but it's also to switch in case you get stuck in a Guzma. 2 copies of Lily. It's kind of a standard for me. I run at least 2 in every deck. 2 copies of Lusamine. I really enjoyed the quote Loopsamine combo. So you just have one of your discard, play Lusamine, grab the other Lusamine out, and a different supporter, build your hand back up. So it helps you from milling out if you time it right. One copy of Gladian. It actually has come in a little handy. I didn't originally want to have this card in here, but it does come in handy when you know you have like a DC or maybe a B string or something prize that you really need. So back to the damage reduction, I run 3 copies of Metal Frying Pan. Now Metal Frying Pan is really funny because as long as it's attached to a metal Pokemon, which the vast majority of this deck is, stand up, the vast majority of this deck is, it reduces damage by 30. Doesn't matter if it's a GX, an EX, or just a regular Pokemon. So you got 4 Stakatakas in play and a Metal Frying Pan equipped. You're reducing damage by 70. Now I've seen people say, oh, reducing damage by 10, 20, 30 is great. This is the only deck I have ever seen that reduces damage by 70. But if you have resistance, you're reducing damage by 90, which is unheard of, to the best of my knowledge at least. And I believe that that combo right there is just one of the cheekiest things I've ever seen, and that is why this is the pride of my decks. So I run 3 Metal Frying Pans. I run 3 B strings because sometimes you're going to have a knockout. It's unavoidable. You're going to have to give your opponent's prize at some point. It doesn't matter what deck you're playing. Your opponent will most likely be taking a prize. But I run 3 copies of B string because the first time they get a knockout, that puts them at 4. So 1 B string that can set up a Celesteela or a Stakataka, but 2 B strings can set up 2. So if you do this right, you can have a quick setup and rebound really quickly. 2 copies of Nest Ball, mostly to fetch out Stakataka, but you can also use it to get a Celesteela if you need it. 2 copies of Field Blower. This is mostly for Choice Bands and Shrine of Punishment. 1 Rescue Stretcher. Pretty obvious to get your Stakatakas back. 1 copy of Palpad. I only use this to get like Acerola or Guzma back. 3 copies of Ultra Space. Ultra Space is really good at, in this deck because obviously the entire deck is nothing but Ultra Beast. But with 3 Ultra Space and 2 Field Blowers, you have 5 outs to Shrine of Punishment. But also, I have, out of the multiple times I've played this deck, I have gotten all 4 Stakatakas turn 1 using Ultra Space and Nest Ball just randomly, and it's really fun to do. But yeah, Ultra Space, and it, you can fetch Naganadel with it too. So if you have a point pole that needs to evolve, just fetch your Naganadel, throw it in your hand, evolve it immediately. Now the rest of this deck is energy, and you realize it has a very high energy count, but you kind of need it. And it seems to work out pretty well for me. So first things first, we run 1 Beast Energy. So when this is equipped to a Ultra Beast Pokemon, that Pokemon deals another 30 damage in addition to the normal damage it does. But it is a prism, so once it gets lost, it's gone. So that's 1. Then we run 4 DCEs. This is mostly to help out Celesteela, just to help get the energy equipped on it quick enough, because you can use DC on it, so why wouldn't you? So run 4 DCs, that's a total of 5 energy so far. And then we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 metal energy. That's 15 energy, and I know that sounds heavy, but when I was first playing this deck, I only ran about 12, and it seemed like I could not get energy at all. So 15 seems to be a much better go-to, and it's working really well for me. And with Gardevoir coming up really heavy, yes, they have the Alolan Ninetales to automatically knock out an Ultra Beast, but that's one time, and I still think you can find a way to get around it with tweaks here and there. So let me know what you think about this deck, and as always, like, comment, and I hope you guys enjoy the deck as much as I do. Thank you.